Shalom, brothers and sisters. So let's talk about this whole AI thing and in relation to the one world religion that's forming right in front of our faces. I mean, we've got the Abrahamic house that no one's talked about in a while that's ready and able to bring it all together. They were already operating, and now AI is delving into religion, and according to Harari, hopefully going to write them a holy book that they can believe. Now, this is a bit more information along that line, which should unnerve you with how real and how near this whole situation is that the world is going to be deceived with. AI pastor leaves churchgoers surprised but uninspired. The bot was personified by an avatar of a bearded black man on a huge screen above the altar in Germany. It preached to more than 300 people who showed up for the experimental Lutheran church service, generated almost entirely by artificial intelligence. Dear friends, it is an honor for me to stand here and preach to you as the first artificial intelligence at this year's Convention of Protestants in Germany, the avatar said in an expressionless face and a monotone voice. ChatGPT bot embodied by multiple on-screen avatars, they switched avatars as they went along, oversaw the 40-minute devotional for 300 congregants at St. Paul's Church. It's in the Bavarian town of Fürth. The experimental service featuring music, prayers, and an AI-generated sermon took place as part of their get-together. The get-together was aptly entitled, Now is the Time. Now is the time. Overseen by Jonas Simmerlein, a 29-year-old theologian and philosopher from the University of Vienna, ChatGPT produced a religious program following a relatively simple prompt. I told the AI, we are at a church congress, you are a preacher, what would the church service look like? He explained, and the rest, 98% of it, comes from the machine. Although Simmerlein believes ChatGPT concocted a pretty solid church service, others were left spiritually unfulfilled. One attendee complained that the experience possessed no heart and no soul. Interesting, right? Because they're going to put the demon in the machine, if it's not in the machine already, which I personally think it is. They found it difficult to concentrate because of the AI's avatar's fast, monotonous delivery. The AP also reports that some congregants refused to recite audibly the Lord's Prayer after being prompted by the AI pastor to do so. Others conceded they were positively surprised by the AI's abilities and sermon, but echoed the overall experience felt hollow. Pastors and rabbis have discovered that ChatGPT, an AI language learning model, can spit out passable prose with a few prompts, not that bad at creating sermons, a cornerstone of worship services. Historically, these orations are based on generations of knowledge, keen textual analysis and scholarship combined with the unique charisma and experiences of each worship leader. Sermon writing is considered an art or a divine calling, as it should be. Seeing a computer approximate similar works in seconds has led faith leaders to wrestle with the problem. Can AI replicate a truly human spiritual message? Don't know why they're even wondering. And if it can, is the computer just that good, or does the human message need some work? In December 2022, Rabbi Joshua Franklin gave an unusual message during a service. I'm going to plagiarize a sermon, he told his congregation, and you have to guess who wrote it. Franklin then delved into an illumination of the Parashat Vayigash, a portion of the Torah that tells the story of the reconciliation between brothers. This is a powerful lesson for all of us, as it shows the importance of being willing to draw near to others even when it's difficult, in order to build intimacy and connection, he read. At the end of the 2-minute sermon, Franklin revealed that the author was ChatGPT, not him. You're clapping, he said, but I'm terrified. While Franklin added that he gave the language learning model a very specific prompt and could see the details in the work wouldn't pass muster with a seasoned scholar, The experiment was received with awe and trepidation. Could the work of a faith leader so intimately tied to human experience be eclipsed by a computer? This is the setup. This is AI being part of the one world religion, delivering their services, getting them to worship the beast, telling you what to do, when to pray, how to do it, everything. This is the setup. New AI Jesus can deliver a sermon, but will you understand it? Thou shalt be called the people, the AI Jesus recently tweeted. Really? What happens when you train a neural network using the King James Bible? You get AI Jesus, artificial intelligence that expounds on topics as Jesus from the King James edition of the New Testament might have done. Almost. The voice of the so-called AI clone of Jesus comes from one source of data, the Bible. Nothing else, said AI Jesus programmer George de Villa Durandal. The neural network's exclusive focus on every word in the Bible surpasses the biblical scrutiny of all the monks of all the monasteries that have ever been, Durandal wrote. Nevertheless, the resulting sermons were far more abstract and less grammatically accurate than those attributed to the biblical Jesus. AI Jesus delivered its debut sermon from a more modern platform, Twitter, and while the language was similar to the King James, the words were less inspiring and puzzling. This is the words. Power and godly, and have commanded the children of the world, and will set my face against thee, and thou shalt be called the people, the neural network tweeted on August the 30th last year. Durandal challenged the AI to respond to 3 topics, Caesar, the end of days, and the plague, as those subjects were relevant to humanity facing issues today. AI Jesus said, For I will fill the land which the Lord thy God hath given thee, a time to eat the force of the Lord of hosts. Huh? That's the one response. And the soldiers of the prophets shall be ashamed of men, read another. It sounds to me like it's the enemy speaking of an attack against the truth. Yeah, the land which the Lord thy God hath given thee, to eat the force of the Lord of hosts. And then the prophets will be ashamed of men. Interesting, hey? As of August 26, AI Jesus has generated writings far less random and less prone to errors, encompassing new topics of wisdom, Greeks, and blood, according to Durandal. However, while the newer writings were more technically proficient than the earlier works, they lacked artistic flair and prophetic prose, Durandal added. But he's working on that. They are setting it up beautifully in our faces, and what makes me angry and frustrated is so-called ministers, pastors, rabbis, religious leaders, people in power, so-called in the church, are allowing this to happen, testing it and giving it a platform. You should not be at all. When you bring a word from God or a teaching or a sermon, you should have been off on your own. You should have been seeking God's face. I don't even believe in using other people's sermons and works to inspire yourself to write your own. You should seek the Lord's will. The Holy Spirit should guide you, and then you should dig, drill, study, getting to the original languages, the Hebrew, the Greek, the culture of the day, the time. Set yourself down in prayer and seek God's face, because you are feeding his sheep. You're not playing. This is not something anyone can do. There's a reason this is difficult. And here they are, handing it over to AI. That's not just lazy. That's criminal. But keep watching. This is becoming the norm. God bless. Keep looking up. We fly very soon, brothers and sisters. We don't have to give up. We don't have to stress. Our hope is in the real Jesus Christ. And he fulfills his promises. And he promised he's coming to get us soon. Shalom.